Hello and welcome once again to the Quick Picks show on bookmakers.com TV. I'm joined this week by two returning guests. Darren Hughes is here, Charlie Mullen is here. We've got two debutantes in the form of Adam Kenny and James at Stoddart. Plus, we've got some special guests from stateside with Alan Seslowski and Jim Coventry from the stats, the fantasy, the news giants that are rotowire.com. They're going to cover off the first week of matches from the NFL. With two quick picks for you to get stuck into as American football returns to our TV screens. So look forward to that during the show. We've four picks here, of course, from the panel and also the host banker from myself. We best not talk about last week's host banker. Couldn't have gone any more wrong. This week we'll go from horse racing, of course, to the NFL, back to the Premier League, and then even some UFC from UFC 279, 279. So next week we will delve into more US sports, of course, but let's kick off with this week's action. It's horse racing first. We're going straight over to Darren Hughes.
Yeah, that's right, Dean. We are indeed. This weekend is probably the premier weekend of flat racing in the Irish calendar. It's Irish Champions Weekend, which obviously takes place across Leopardstown and the Curragh on Saturday and Sunday. My selection is in the big race on the Saturday, the Irish Champion Stakes. I'm going for Mishriff at 4-1. Very simple. He's the best horse in the race. He's the highest rated horse in the race. He chased home by Eid in York last time, where I think he had a thankless task trying to chase home the best horse in the world. Doesn't come up against anything at that caliber here. Granted, he has to find a neck on the even money favourite Vedini from their encounter at Sandown in earlier on in the year, but the ground is much softer here, which I think will stand to Mishriff much better. He's won a Group 2 on such a surface, and also won his maiden in Nottingham on the same surface. And also he got his stones that day. The ride was so bad it actually saw David Egan lose his job riding for Prince Faisal, who owns Mishriff. So all in all, I think 4-1 is a stonking price here. It's probably as good a bet as you'll have this weekend.
4-1 plus 400 for Mishriff in the Irish Champion Stakes at Leopardstown, 3:45 on Saturday. Thank you, Darren. James, we're sticking with horse racing. It's not all the action on at Longines Irish Champion Weekend, of course. There is some racing elsewhere and in the UK.
Yeah, St. Legend Weekend in the UK, and there's one on the undercard at Doncaster. The Portland Handicap, 13:45. I like Night on Earth. He had a good win last time out and beat both the favourite for this race, When the Dealer's Done, and Burning Cash, and he actually meets both of them on better terms this race, and he's available at about 3 times the price of When the Dealer's Done. Starting a bit of a mistake. It's currently best price of 18-1 available out there, and I think as it's the biggest handicap in the day, you'll probably get a good 6 or 7 places with a couple of bookmakers as well. If When the Dealer's Done is that short, I can't see this being out of the frame with that many places.
Okay, Night on Earth in the Portland at Doncaster, 1:45, of course, UK time on Saturday at Doncaster. Nice each way price, that from James. Okay, let's pause here for a second because the NFL is back this week. We'll head over stateside now. I'll hand over to Alan Seslowski at RotoWire. Take it away, chaps.
Thanks, guys. If you'd like to bet on the National Football League, better known as the NFL, we're going to give you our 2 best plays for week 1 of the 2022 season. I'm Alan Seslowski, along with sports betting expert Jim Coventry of rotowire.com, and we're here with our exclusive plays for quick picks powered by bookmakers.com. Jim, you like the San Francisco 49ers giving 6.5 points in Chicago against the Bears.
Yes. See, this game comes down to Chicago's lack of continuity. On defense, the Bears' front defensive 7 has 4 new starters, including both outside linebackers, and they're learning a new scheme. Not only would facing the 49ers rushing attack be difficult under normal circumstances, but now they add the mobile Trey Lance. That's a component that requires discipline on defense. That anticipated lack of discipline will make sure there are large gaps for the 49ers to run through. Now, Chicago will get shredded on the ground. And then on the other side of the ball, the 49ers have one of the best front 7s in the league, and they'll face a Bears offense with 4 new starters on the offensive line. 2 of their 3 receivers missed most of the preseason while they installed a new offense. This could get ugly for the offense. Field position is an issue all day. Final score prediction, 27-10, 49ers.
The game that popped off the page for me is the Miami Dolphins are at home against the New England Patriots. This contest opened up as the Dolphins as a 2.5 point favorite, but has since moved to a full point, 3.5 points now. Jim, I like the Dolphins here because the offseason buzz on the Patriots has been poor all season long. The Patriots in the post-Tom Brady era have gotten off to slow starts, and Hall of Fame coach Bill Belichick will be able to make the needed adjustments, but usually not until a few games in. I like this game much better when it was below 3 points, but betting against a public team like the New England Patriots early in the season has been profitable the last few seasons. Back to you guys, Dean.
So my thanks go to Alan there, of course, at Rotowire, Alan Seslowski and Jim Coventry. They've covered off the NFL. Thank you very much for them. Looking at San Francisco, of course, over the Chicago Bears, and the Miami Dolphins over the New England Patriots. Hopefully they get us off to a winning start with the gridiron action. So welcome back to the room, and thanks, of course, to those Rotowire guys. Why don't we get stuck into a bit of Premier League? Charlie Mullen, of course, a regular now on the Quick Pick Show, is back with a bit of action from the EPL.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. I don't like to kick anyone when they're down, but I'm about to. Chelsea, what a mess. And good luck to Graham Potter if he is appointed manager in time for this game. Saturday lunchtime at Fulham. Very difficult place to go. Fulham opened the season at home with a 2-2 draw against Liverpool. Follow that up with wins against Brighton and Brentford, who are above them in the table, as are Chelsea. Chelsea defence is a shambles. I think any one of us could have scored against them in the recent games. So with that in mind, I am going for Alexander Mitrovic to find the back of the net against Chelsea in the Saturday lunchtime game. And there's also a very good possibility that the Serbian will get booked. Ideally, he gets booked celebrating his goal, but we'll wait and see for that. So I'm going for a double for Mitrovic to score and also be booked. And that's available at 11-2 or plus 550.
Okay, that's the Mitrovic. He's on fire already for Fulham. It's the early game, of course, on Saturday in the Premier League, Fulham against Chelsea. And that's Charlie Mullen. Okay, now we're going to change our attentions now to a bit of fighting action. UFC 279 is just around the corner. Sunday, I think in the early hours, UK time. I'm over to Adam Kent.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. UFC 279 this weekend. The headline fight is Khamzat Chimaev, who's really recently taken the UFC by storm. He's taken on a legend, really, that everybody will know, Nate Diaz. Chimaev, 5 UFC fights, 5 wins. 2 of those have come by submission. I think that's how he's going to get it done against Diaz. Diaz, throughout his career, he's been KO'd twice in 30-odd fights. One of those was actually a doctor's stoppage. So, I mean, he's borderline, to use a phrase, unknockable outable, but nobody is unchokeable outable. I can very much see this going the way where Chimaev is just dominating him. Diaz gives up his back and then just gets put to sleep. Chimaev is huge odds on to win. He's about 1-10 to win the fight. He's 3-1 to win by submission. I think that's a very good bet.
3-1 or plus 300 for Chimaev to win by submission in the big fight, of course, against Nate Diaz, early hours of Sunday morning UK time in UFC 279. Now, Charlie Mullen has already given us a bet in the match that is it's where I'm going with the host banker. This is where stats and opinion generally collide, because stats and form will tell you that Chelsea are up against it, but there's a new manager bounce in town. I think when you do remove the bad apple, then sometimes things can change very quickly. And for a team as talented as Chelsea, I think it might just happen for them. Looks like Graham Potter's going in. I think they are the host banker this weekend. Now, it does mean, obviously, both bets can win. Mitrovic can score and be booked, and Chelsea can still win the game. So I think I'm probably allowed to get away with this. Their best price 4-5 to win, which is minus 125, depending on where you put your wager on. And so don't shoot me for last week, but it's all going to come again good again for the host banker with Chelsea to beat Fulham. That new manager bounce is important. My thanks go to Darren Hughes, Charlie Mullen, James Stoddart, Adam Kenny, and the 2 guys from Rotowire, of course, Alan Seslowski and Jim Coventry. This has been the Quick Pick Show on bookmakers.com TV. Thank you for watching. All the bets are on the screen now. If you get involved, best of luck.